Welcome to Matt Nair on air. So very, very happy to have you along. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin is on the board, coming to you live from our studio in downtown Waukesha. Just a reminder, Bucks in action tonight. They're at the Trailblazers at 8:30. You can listen on Oshkosh Air Support, WISS, 1100 AM, 98.3 FM, or WCQM in Park Falls, 98.3 FM. Again, the Bucks and the Trailblazers tonight at 8:30. Very excited to have our next guest joining us. It's coming up in just a couple of weeks, the 50th annual American Birkebeiner. Shawn Connelly is the marketing and communications director, and he joins us live. Good morning, Shawn. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Oh, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, it's a little brown up there right now, isn't it?
I'm looking out the window and unfortunately seeing a little more grass and concrete than we'd like to see around this time of year. Just this past Monday night and during our live stream, we announced that we are going to be most likely seeing some changes to this year's American Birkebeiner. These years happen. Yeah, they certainly do. But this isn't the first time it's happened either, which is kind of gives us a lot of hope. 1981. The American Birkebeiner was actually nicknamed the Bikini Beiner because it was 63 degrees outside. And the day before the race, we had over 300 volunteers in the woods shoveling snow out onto the course so that the elites could go to the course. So that's happened. Yeah.
It was 63 degrees at the end of February.
That was in 1981. We've had other years that maybe the lake wasn't frozen. So for those who aren't familiar with the race, it's a 50-kilometer race from Cable to Hayward, Wisconsin. So that's going from north to south. And the final leg of the race, the very last part, goes across Lake Hayward right before you hit downtown. You go over International Bridge, which cuts right over Highway 63, and then you go right down Main Street. It's a really exciting event. When the lead skier goes off, the church bells ring throughout the town. It's just such a cool event, and it's really cool downtown. And so we've had years where the lake wasn't quite frozen enough, so we weren't able to do that. So there have been plenty of years. 2000, unfortunately, we had to cancel then. 2000 and 2017 are the only times we've had to totally cancel the race due to bad weather. And to be honest, this year that's not completely off the table. I mean, if the week before the Birkie it's 50 degrees and raining, there's not a lot we can do about that.
No.
But the things we can control, which is really exciting, is that for the first time, just for the past 2 years, we've been able to make snow here just through some very generous donations. We have a lot of very generous donors that have prepared us for years like this. So we've had our snow machines running around the clock whenever we can. And right now we have one of the biggest, they call them Nordic whales, a snow pile. All right. We call them Nordic whales. And they do look like a big Nordic whale underneath the snow. And we have one right now that's getting close to probably 150 meters long and 2 stories high that we're going to be able to shift some of that snow out around the course. So the 4 contingencies right now are Birkie as usual, 1 to 5% chance that that's actually going to happen. All right. If we're looking outside the window and we're looking at the long range forecast, but it's on the table. It's there. The other 2 options would be one that is a looped course that goes from Cable to Double O. Now, again, for those who aren't familiar, the race goes from Cable to Hayward. Look at my screen, Cable to Hayward. And then right in the middle is Double O. It's a highway called Double O. So the other one would be a looped course where it goes from Cable down to Double O and then back up. And the other exciting option would be a looped 10 to 20K course right around the Birkebeiner trailhead, which is where we have our snowmaking machines. So that's the other option. And the reason that option is really exciting, particularly for our spectators, is that this year, the World Cup of cross-country skiing is being held right over in the Twin Cities. So there's a lot of skiers that are going to be coming to the American Birkebeiner that are world-class, and particularly Jessie Diggins, literally the best cross-country skier in the world. That's not just hyperbole. That's like, look at the numbers. She's the best cross-country skier in the world right now. And she's going to be racing the Birkebeiner. So the cool part about potentially having a looped course is that if we had our normal race, Cable to Hayward, you would see her at the beginning, you'd see her at the end.
And
with
that's
a looped course, spectators can now be able to watch her ski by multiple times and ring that cowbell for multiple times, not just for Jessie, but for a bunch of other world-class athletes that are going to be coming to little old Hayward, Wisconsin, which is just so cool.
The fitness level of these people, if you've never gone cross-country skiing and you think, that looks like anybody can do that, you really have to be in amazing shape.
Oh, absolutely. As a relatively new cross-country skier myself, I say I've been doing it seriously for like the past 5 years. I've been a runner and a biker my whole life, and I really kind of started getting into this Birkie thing about 5 years ago. Whew, I'm like, I've ran marathons. I'm fine. I can do it. But like cross-country skiing is a beast, and doing it in Hayward, Wisconsin, I mean, I'm from the Green Bay area, right? That area of the state's a little flat. You don't get a lot of elevation. I think a lot of people get up here to Hayward, Wisconsin, and they don't realize just what the hills are like here and how you really it's a workout. So
what the hell is this?
what the hell is going on out here? That's exactly what it's like in here. Yeah.
I have a friend I used to work with. He did it every year that I worked there, and it without failing. He'd been doing it for years before that. And he trained so hard. And he was at the time in his late 60s.
Wow.
He was training for it. And he would take 3 days off of work afterwards to recover, because it just, I mean, people don't understand, like, oh, cross country.
All you're doing is
you're
sliding.
sliding. It's so nice. You look at the weather. It's like, no, I saw pictures of him afterwards. I'm like, why?
It's a unique challenge. It really is. Speaking of longevity, this year we've had one skier. It's our 50th anniversary, which is so exciting for us. And that's why, despite the weather, despite whatever's going to be happening, we are going to be holding this race for a few reasons. Number one, it is our 50th year anniversary. And we have Ernie St. Germain, who is a legend in these parts. This will be his 50th Birkebeiner. He has skied every single one. So you talk about doing it into your 70s and even into your late 70s, 80s. People do it. And the part about that is that, again, it's a great workout, but it's low impact, believe it or not. It's not like running where you're really pounding those joints. So people can do it into their 70s and 80s, because it's a workout, but there is a technique that you have to work, but maybe don't have to work as hard if you get that technique down. So that's really exciting, because it's a 50th anniversary. We're doing it for everyone, but it's a really special year for Ernie to be doing his 50th American Birkebeiner. And this race just means so much to people, and it's so much more than a race. Like, we just received an email this morning from a skier. We get lots of comments from skiers all the time, which is so great. We see comments on our Facebook and our YouTube, but just emails to people that say, like, hey, we understand this is a rough year for you guys. We appreciate everything you're doing. One skier today said, this is my 38th Birkebeiner. I missed one for my best friend's wedding, and he's like, I implored with him to try to change the date of the wedding, but he didn't.
Do it for me.
Come on, please. I missed it for my son's wedding, and that's it. Those are the only.
And I implored my son not to get married.
He's like, honey, you can hold on, right, honey? You got a little more in you. But he in his comment, he just said, look, no matter what this race is, it's more than a race weekend. It's the weekend a year that's only so many, like, there's groups of family and friends that this might be the only weekend a year they get together, and they get together for this race. You know, there's so much to it. It's more than just a race.
Well, and that's leading to my next question, because it reminds me sort of Harley culture, in the sense that you get all kinds of people coming from all over, and this is their weekend. And when I say party, I don't mean to party, but I mean like to be together, to hang out, to like just get away from their lives for a weekend and have fun. But then these are my Birkie friends, and I see them once a year.
This is your Birkie family, right?
Exactly.
100%.
You know, and this just sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, honestly, whether you are a participant or a spectator.
100%. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to get up here. If you're a Wisconsinite, if you're even more than just Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, if you're in this region and you haven't been to a Birkebeiner yet, highly suggest it. And this might be the year to do it again, because that we're more likely than not going to be doing a looped course with some world-class athletes. But I'd highly suggest, it's one of those just like Wisconsin things I'd say you got to check out. You know, whether it's you come up here, you see the giant muskie as well. I mean, come on, that's huge. You got to do that.
You got to go see the giant muskie there up in the Birkebeiner.
Yeah, I haven't lived until you've seen the giant muskie. I mean, come on, we can all agree on that.
Now, Shawn, do you take part in it, or because you're doing what you're doing, you have to like step back and be like, well, I gotta work? So,
full disclosure, I'm on my 5th week in this job. We just had some transition with someone. And here's the fun part is that as soon as Birkie was done last year, I signed up for this year's. Yeah. And in my interview process, I'm like, hey, so elephant in the room, can I still do the Birkie this year? And they're like, well, take a look at your schedule and then you can decide that for yourself. Yeah, I'm going to be a little too busy, unfortunately.
Yeah,
we're all pretty slammed here. Yeah,
you've got kind of a critical role as the marketing and communications director for the 100%. American Birkebeiner. So I can imagine that there's just a few hundred things and details that you're going to need to keep track of.
I see 2 computer screens and a huge calendar. You have things to do.
Yeah, there are things and.
He's
Yeah,
a busy
absolutely.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
yeah, so but it's exciting, and that is we actually have a staff Birkie that we do a couple weeks afterwards. It's just for the staff
Oh,
to kind of go out and do,
fun.
and there's not all the hoopla that you get at the normal Birkie, but we all take a lot of pride in being able to put on a world class event for all of our spectators, and particularly when
Absolutely.
it comes to communication part on a year where things won't exactly be like normal. That's
sure.
going to be my focus to make sure everybody is having a really amazing experience up here in Hayward.
What I think is so cool, Sean, and you pointed it out as well, that this little town in Wisconsin attracts people from literally all over the globe and
Hmm.
is famous. That just makes me so proud and so happy. It does for our little state,
Yeah.
not
Completely.
necessarily known for its great skiing.
Oh, 100%. Tony Weiss, it all boils down to him. In 1973, he bought the Telemark property where we're actually rebuilding the Telemark home base. He built this amazing lodge, and he started all of a great entrepreneur, started the World Lumberjack Championships, which is also coming up in August. Another, like, it's literally a world-class event that comes here. So to your point, there's a lot of history here, and I think Tony Weiss is the founder of this American Birkebeiner Ski Foundation, and he had a vision for what this area can be and why to drive people here to northern Wisconsin, a little town, but for its not only for see its scenic beauty, do some great ice fishing, do some great fishing, hit up the trails, but like we can host world-class events here too that bring the world here. And he is also one of the co-founders of the World Elope courses. So this course is actually tied into a whole network of races and courses all around the world that are called World Elope courses. So that's one of the reasons this race is it's world renowned because skiers know it's challenging and they know it's a beautiful, amazing experience when they come up here.
You know what I gotta say? So we had Teresa on before talking about the great output of maple syrup here.
100%.
And I feel like the Birkebeiner also qualifies as beyond the cheese. If you think about it,
100%.
when you think of Wisconsin, people are like, oh, beer, sausages, but not a world-class race that brings people from brings, as you said, the number one cross-country skier in the world to Wisconsin to race, not to shake hands or to like, oh, well, get a parade. They're here to work.
100%.
And that's important to know and important to tell people.
And I gotta say, quick plug, because I was in the chat with Teresa right after ski season is done. I go into maple syrup season. I volunteer at a Boy Scout camp in Mountain, Wisconsin that has a great sugar bush, and we make maple syrup there every year. It's a great program. It's just like summer camp for kids, but instead of like going swimming and stuff, they learn how to make maple syrup. Really cool program. Yeah. Yeah,
that's
really
awesome.
good. So anyways, so when
cool.
you had her on, I was just like, oh, this is great. I get to learn.
And I get to learn too.
But to your point, yeah, there's so many like hidden gems around Wisconsin. Yeah, maple syrup is huge in this state. Yeah. Cross country skiing, it's huge in this state. You just gotta find your niches that are around here. There's just so much that our great state has to offer. And that's why I love kind of what you're doing with Civic Media, being able to spread that around the entire state and connect local media, because I think that is so important. I come from a local radio and television background, so it's just so important.
Sean, we got just a couple of minutes left. Do you have time to hang with us for one more shorter segment?
Yeah, not a problem.
That would be great. If you have a question for Sean or about the Birkebeiner, and I want to ask you on the other side, Sean, just about lodging, and if people want to come up and watch, maybe not race themselves, but lodging and some good places to go eat and all kinds of things Birkie related. Stay close. You're listening to Matt Nair on air. We're coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on air. Thank you so very much for joining us. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Dr. Slide on the board. You can always join us at 844-967-2789, 844-96
Pasty.
Or shoot us a message if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Birkebeiner is coming up next month in Hayward, Wisconsin. Shawn Connelly is the communications and marketing director for the Birkie. Shawn, and I've been to Hayward and I've stayed in Hayward. It's not like there's a whole large amount of hotels available. So people must kind of stay all the way around the area, right?
Correct. Yeah. There's a lot of great Airbnbs in the area as well outside of the hotel. Hotels fill up pretty quick around here.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of host families and a lot of Airbnbs, but everywhere from Cable to Hayward, and the surrounding Sawyer County, people will stay. And if you can get within an hour, that's good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And as far as is there an average price, or I suppose you just have to kind of hunt around a little bit?
Yeah, you got to hunt around. It's tough to say that because I know there's a lot of skiers who the second the Birkie's done, they're talking with their hosts about next year already. Like, hey, I want to book this.
Yeah.
So they can get a decent deal. But but supply and demand, and it is a little scarce around here. So if you want to come this year, I would suggest looking for that housing sooner than later.
Do it now.
Yeah, do it now. Because it gets a little scarce the closer you get to race day.
Or get that RV.
100%.
Get that RV, Jane.
I'm lobbying Shawn for the station to buy us a travel RV that we can take around the state.
Ooh, yeah.
With just a small hot tub that we pull behind it. It wouldn't be huge.
Just the necessities, right? I mean,
exactly. The basics that you need when you're on the road.
Right.
And as far as restaurants and stuff, I'm sure there's all kinds of options up there too.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great restaurants up here. Lots of great partners that we work with. I mean, the Sawmill Saloon's one of the ones we like to have a lot of after parties at. But anywhere in downtown Hayward, you're going to find a great meal. Main Street Tacos does an amazing job. The Angler Bar and Grill does an amazing job. So yeah, you got a lot of great options down here in Hayward, Wisconsin, and up in Cable too. There's a lot of it's kind of like we were talking about before. Wisconsin's got a lot of these hidden gems, and I think the hospitality of our local bars, restaurants, pubs are just really they're top notch. I don't think you can walk in and want to not feel like you're at home.
Well, and this has got to be such a big deal. There was just an article today about so many of our businesses in the North Woods who are struggling because they depend on snowmobilers and they depend on ice fishers. And if you can still go visit these places, would be great.
Yeah.
Because the supper clubs and the bars and the little, sports bars and stuff, they're hurting.
Yeah, they are. And that's what, again, another reason why we're having this event one way or the other. It's going to look a little different, but we're going to have this event because we want to support those businesses. We know that this is a huge economic driver for this community. So we're going to push through and make sure we have something here.
Yeah, I mean, isn't this their Christmas season? This is pretty much their Christmas season.
Yeah, 100%.
As far as when they make the biggest, and I'm sure summertime is big too when they make a lot of revenue. But I know they count on that wintertime commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Dr. Merlot, our meteorologist Brittany Merlot was telling us about just how hard it is for something like some of these places that are ice fisher, places that you go ice fishing, all these places that rely on snow, cold weather, just not doing great this year. So kind of make your way up there if you can.
Go take your bicycle along.
Yeah.
You could hit the trails on your bike probably.
Do some non-ice fishing. I don't know.
I'm so glad you mentioned biking because the weekend, couple weekends, I got to look at my calendar now. A couple weekends after the Birkie, on March 9th, we're actually having our Fat Bike Birkie. So that's the cool thing about the American Birkebeiner Ski Foundation is that we are a year-round organization. People often ask me, it's like, okay, you're now working with the Birkie, so it's a part-time job. Oh no, it's a year-round job where so we have a Fat Bike Birkie on March 9th, where if you want to take the Birkie course, ride that famous course from Cable to Hayward, you can probably that's the unique year we're in, that the skiers might not be able to do it, but the fat bikers will be able to do it. So you're going to be able to ride that Fat Bike Birkie on March 9th. Coming up, again, I got to look at my calendar here and cheat. Coming up in June 7th, 8th, 9th. 7th through the 9th, we have our Epic Bike Fest, so big bike fest there. Later in September, we have a trail running race. I mentioned earlier in the earlier segment, we have our Lumberjack World Championships in August. So all of these things that we have are just amazing reasons to come out to Hayward year round.
Do you work with the Lumberjack Championships?
Yes,
the same company.
So that is a Birkebeiner. That's a Birkebeiner event. Yeah.
So we would probably be talking because we'd love to talk to you about that.
We want to broadcast from up there when
Jane wants to broadcast. She wants to see.
I want to talk to Lady Lumberjacks.
Yeah, you do. And actually, you're going to want to talk to Sam. So she's the one who manages that whole event. She helps a lot with the media. So we work together on that. But yeah, she is literally a Lumberjane, Lumberjill. I am intimidated by her. Sam, you heard it. I am intimidated by your physique. It's amazing.
And also, why couldn't you call it the Birkebeiner? I mean, seriously, you just missed out on. Oh, there you go.
Naming. It's all in the name.
There's so much. So you got the Birkebeiner ski, Birkebeiner bike. You've got the Lumberjack Championship. What else goes on the major events that you do?
Yeah, so end of September, we also have our Birkie Trail Run. So that's a really big running race that we do here. This past January is actually a really busy month for us, not only preparing for the Birkie, but every single weekend we have an event from our Sealy Hills Classic. That's a classic skiing event that we do. We have our Ski to Ski, which is a women's ski race weekend. It was our second annual one this year. amazing response. A whole weekend with a camp where not only is there a race, but there's informational sessions on how to become a better skier, and really for women to really connect and empower each other. Really great event there. We have our Birkie Night Tour race, which is really cool. So that was a great way to kind of come out and check out the Birkie trails and then do a race at night. It was so cool to see all these headlamps whipping through the woods at night. So January is a really busy month for us. And again, we were able to do all of those events thanks to our snowmaking capabilities. So we have a base out there. People have been able to roll with it, which has been great. So that's what we're going to be able to, knock on wood, be able to rely on in a few weeks here. Granted, we know the weather doesn't look super cool this week, but it's supposed to get a little bit colder next week. We can continue to make some snow. So one way or another, we're confident something can happen here. So stay tuned because we'll have a lot more in that. So February 12th, we actually have a live stream of our own that we're going to be doing to kind of make our final announcements. By then, we'll have our 10-day forecast, and we'll be able to say, okay, here's what's going to be happening. We can make those official announcements of what exactly this course is going to look like, what exactly the dates and times are going to look like, because those are going to shift a little bit, just to make sure we're accommodating all the skiers, we're accommodating our elite skiers, we're accommodating our citizen skiers, and we're accommodating the course. So I'm done talking.
Well, where can people find out more?
Birkie.com. Birkie.com is the best way. BIRKIE.
Thank you so much, Shawn Connelly, the Marketing and Communications Director for the Birkebeiner. Thank you to all our guests who joined us this morning. Thank you for listening and calling and texting. I hope you find some joy today, and I really hope you have the chance to share it. We have news on the way next, followed by Todd Alba. Keep it here on the Civic Media Radio Network.